It's time for match number 29 of the IPL. It's Hyderabad versus Chennai. The last time these two teams met a few days ago this year, Hyderabad beat Chennai. And here we are to talk about a 5-point preview of this game with Aakash Chopra and Deep Dasgupta on Whirlpool presents ESPN Cricinfo T20 Timeout powered by Dell. The first of our 5-point preview, guys, is Kane Williamson being underutilized at number 4? We saw how Manish Pandey scored a lot of runs in that last game. Williamson did play a cameo. Is he being underutilized? And therefore, would you look at either batting him up the order or replacing him with someone else?
I don't like the idea of putting your three overseas resources as 1, 2, and 3. And there are only 2 exceptions to that rule. One, if you're chasing a total in excess of 190, of course, that's what you have to do. Go helter-skelter from ball 1. But the other option would be that the 2 openers have batted till the 12th or the 13th over. Then the batting order does not matter. Then you just send the best batsman in. But if that is not the case, then you need to get an Indian between the 3 overseas batsmen. And Manish Pandey, I think, is at his best at number 3. You have to give him time. And if things change, of course, he can be promoted. That's Kane Williamson. But at this point in time, I'm absolutely happy with the way they are.
I would tend to agree with what Aakash had just mentioned. I would actually go with Williamson at number 3 only when there's an early wicket. You need someone like Williamson to kind of control if there's an early wicket. But if the opening partnership, which in the last few years, more often than not, has done well, then I think Manish Pandey at 3 just suits. It's fine with me. But if there's an early wicket, then I wouldn't mind Williamson at 3.
Right, the second point of our preview is Chennai need to revamp their chasing plan. What they've done so far in the past is they've hit that top gear right in the end. They've managed to win. They won trophies as well, but it is not working this season. Deep, is there a need to revamp that plan? What can they do to chase better?
See, I've got a couple of things here. I think I've been saying this. They don't need to change much. All they need to change is how they approach the game. Their approach of chasing while batting is what they need to change. The other thing they might need to look at is using their batting resources. If you have someone like Shardul Thakur or Deepak Chahar batting at number 11, that's how strong on deep their batting resources are. But what they really need to change is the way they're approaching chases, not the personal so much.
Right. Let's also talk about how Chennai can use their bowling resources better. We're making a case for Deepak Chahar to bowl in the death. He's bowled very well in the power play. He's getting some movement. His confidence is high. Can his 4 overs be utilized better? Maybe 2 overs at the death, Aakash?
It's a thought that is worth entertaining. But is he bowling that well? Honestly, I've seen Deepak Chahar bowl better. When you look at his performances in this IPL, we have seen the highs, but we have also seen the lows. We've seen him bowling boundary balls very often. So I'm not 100% convinced. I'm not on the same page with regards to him bowling in the death. And I can totally understand why Dhoni is not trusting him with that job. If something, maybe there is a change in the offing for all we know. You could actually look at a Josh Hazelwood in place of a Sam Curran or an Imran Tahir because you've got 3 overseas batsmen in the opposition. So those are the things that you may want to change, but stick to maybe just Shardul Thakur and Dwayne Bravo for the death overs for the time being.
Deep bowl Chahar in the death or change in personnel as Aakash suggested?
Listen, you can always look at someone like Hazelwood. I mean, he's world class. With their bowling, it's not been such a big issue as compared to their batting. So bowling, they're doing all right. And Deepak Chahar, as Aakash mentioned, I think he still hasn't picked. I mean, his main job was to bowl those 3 overs in the power play and pick wickets. He hasn't picked as many wickets as maybe CSK would have liked him to.
Right. The next point that we're going to make on this preview is about Hyderabad's bowling. Is there a case for Sandeep Sharma to be replaced with Shahbaz Nadeem? Because if you look at Sandeep Sharma's figures, just the 2 wickets, an average of 68 and an economy of just under 9. Aakash, Nadeem in for Sharma?
Either Nadeem or they've got Basil Thampi, they've got Prithviraj Yara, they've got quite a few options, let's be honest. And it pains me to say that Sunrise Hyderabad, a team that used to take so much of pride in their bowling unit, is actually a slightly weaker bowling unit. In the absence of Bhuvi, it becomes even, it gets further weakened. So you would want to plug those holes. Shahbaz Nadeem is your go-to 4-over kind of bowler who will give you a couple of overs. In fact, at the top, and if there is a Shane Watson in the opposition who's opening the innings, and there is Mahendra Singh Dhoni in the middle overs, if you have a left-arm spin option, exercise that, because both these stalwarts and established batsmen haven't really had like a great outing in front of our great numbers against a left-arm spinner, and left-arm spinner of Shahbaz Nadeem's class.
Right, Deep. The last point of this preview is a slightly radical thought. Should Dhoni send Karan and Jadeja ahead of him? That's Sam Curran.
Well, Jadeja, Sam Curran has come in front of him in a few games. Jadeja, I would like to believe yes, because Jadeja has been really good with the bat in the last couple of years. He's been batting at number 6 for India in a few games as well. So I think you need to show a little more faith. And as I've mentioned before, it's not just predominantly the personal. I think the approach needs to change. I think they need to be a little more free in how they approach their batting innings and all. And I think, someone like Jadeja, who's a free-flowing batsman, his resources, his batting abilities have really not been exploited so far in this IPL.
So, Aakash, numbers do make a case for this possibility, because Sam Curran and Ravindra Jadeja's strike rate so far in this season is much, much higher than MS Dhoni. So do you back a blue chip stock saying, all right, MS Dhoni, a champion who can come good anytime? Or do you take the more pragmatic route saying, all right, we need Sam Curran, Jadeja higher up the order for better intent?
This is actually the same lot who've been crying foul when Dhoni demotes himself, that, he needs to bat higher up the order, then he bats higher up the order, and then they start talking about, okay, can we send somebody else ahead of Dhoni, maybe because somebody else is actually striking a little better in those 5 balls that he played the other night. So I'd say just hold on to your horses for a little longer. Approach is something that's been discussed quite often on this show already. So change that approach. That's all is needed, to be fair. Just go aggressive. You talk about depth. Depth is good if you have the approach, that bindas approach that we see from Delhi and from Mumbai. See, nobody's going to put a gun on somebody's head. This is a guy, Dhoni has to bat at 4. Nobody can bat ahead of him. He's very pragmatic. He will send a striker ahead of him if he feels that is the need of the hour. But just as an like a thought from the onset, no, I'd say no. Don't think about before the game has started. The game has started writing its own narrative that somebody else should be batting here, somebody else should be batting there. The only thing that they should be worried about is the approach.
Right. These are only ideas, and we clearly mean well, and we want this tournament to be more competitive. CSK embark on the second lap of this 14 league match kind of marathon, so maybe they'll find their mojo in this second lap. Thanks so much, Aakash and Deep, for joining us on Whirlpool Presents ESPN Cricinfo T20 Timeout, powered by Dell. We'll see you again soon.